So for today's class, we will add in two different restorative yoga poses, one that we'll start in and one that we'll add in kind of near the end. So if you have a bolster or a couple of pillows or blankets or cushions, couch cushions, we'll want to use some of those today. Our first pose will be a gentle heart opener. So grabbing your cushions or bolster, we'll have that up here where our backs will lie on. I like to have a little extra height underneath my head. So I'm putting this pillow or this blanket over top as a pillow. So you'll just kind of start to lay back. Hopefully the cushion will support you all the way down through the entirety of your back. It might feel good to let your arms reach out wide, maybe tucking your shoulder blades in a little bit and letting gravity help with this kind of chest stretch, heart opener, as they call it. If it's a bit much to have your legs straight, you can try bending your knees and standing your feet up, kind of like a constructive rest variation. Ooh, it feels extra good today. Another variation would be feet together at the center and then knees going out wide with some extra support beneath the knees or thighs. So go ahead and sort that out and settle in. Maybe taking a sigh or two. Starting to scan through your body. And every area that you become aware of, just giving permission to rest, to be at ease. Letting the support of the props and the floor beneath you do most of the work. Your work will be relaxing and noticing. Checking in with your breath. Find a rhythm for diaphragmatic breathing, belly breathing. So just taking the air in slow and low as if you're breathing all the way down to the kind of like to the pelvic bowl, even letting the belly expand and widen with your inhales and letting everything soften back into place with every exhale. Smoothing out the flow of your breath and maintaining that loose, relaxed state of your muscles. For some people, this might be a wonderful place to just stay today. This could be your full practice if you so choose. If you have other intentions, let's take a few moments now to decide what those are. Discern or decide what your intention for this practice is today. Let's take 3 clearing breaths together, filling all the way up. Inhale, pausing for a second or two at the top, and then sigh it out. 2 more rounds at your own pace. And settling back into a steady pace of breath with proper oral posture, as they call it. Lips sealed, biting surfaces of your teeth just slightly parted, jaw relaxed, and your tongue resting comfortably on the roof of your mouth. Find a steady pace there. If you'd like some more movement to be part of today's practice, let's start by wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe letting your head roll or rock from side to side a couple of times. Circling ankles and wrists. Maybe heading into a long body stretch or yawning. And then we'll start to sit up just enough to slide your bolster or props out from underneath you. And then go ahead and lay back down, bringing your knees in with you this time. We'll start to roll some weight around the low back and the sacrum, circling the knees. Trying to let your hands and arms kind of do the lifting here, letting your legs be a little looser. Continuing with that as long as you'd like, and then setting your feet back down on the ground. Reach your arms out wide like a T on either side. Take a nice big breath in and out here, expansive. Take another breath in. With your exhale, we're going to give ourselves a little hug here. So reaching for opposite shoulders. Maybe grabbing hold of the shoulders or the elbows, whatever you can reach. And then kind of push your elbows away. So you're starting to feel pressure, hopefully, between your shoulder blades. And you can start a little bit of a rocking here. So we want to try to massage out the mid and upper back just between the shoulder blades here. It's a little bit of rocking. Ooh, taking the elbows kind of in circles also feels good. Then check which arm is on top. We'll just make sure that the other arm goes on top when we switch here. With an inhale, open your arms out wide. Let them rest on the floor for a second. With an exhale, grabbing hold of opposite shoulders or elbows again with the other arm on top. Pushing your elbows or lifting your elbows just slightly, and then finding that rocking pressure here. Back and forth, or maybe taking some circles with the elbows, or putting it all together. Whenever you have had enough, let's take a long body stretch, reaching arms and legs long. Pointing your toes and then flexing the ankles a couple of times. Point and flex. All right, let's roll onto either side and start to press your way up to a seat. Right away here, let's come to hands and knees. If you want some extra cushioning beneath your knees, go ahead and grab that with a blanket. Hands will be below the shoulders, knees more or less below your hips. With your inhale, find cow pose, lowering your belly, lifting your gaze, lifting your tailbone. And exhale, rounding your spine up as you tuck your chin and tailbone, cat pose. Take your entire inhale to find cat. Belly lowering, gaze lifting. Your entire exhale, exploring the journey to cat. Add on any additional movements or explorations, maybe a little twist or turn through the shoulders or the hips. At some point, when you're in cat pose with your spine rounding up toward the sky, let your head hang kind of loose, maybe shaking your head no, nodding your head yes a little bit. And we'll meet up in extended child's pose with your knees out wide toward the edges of your mat, big toes touching behind you, sinking your seat here, and then finding your hands up at the top of the mat, extended child's pose. If you still have your bolster handy, we could take some variations. If this doesn't quite feel like it today, you could bring your bolster underneath your chest and kind of reach out to hug the bolster. You could kind of sit on the bolster, bringing the bolster behind your um, thighs and then sitting back. That's kind of nice. Maybe you can find another way to use your bolster. And we're enjoying child's pose here for about 5 more breaths. Steady rhythm. All right, maybe one more breath here. When you're ready, slide forward to your belly. Option to try to keep your nose kind of as close to the ground as possible. Maybe coming up to your forearms and, just staying kind of low. Eventually, making it to your stomach, straightening out your legs here, crocodile pose, stacking your fists or hands beneath your head, maybe grabbing a block to rest your head on here, heels splay out to the sides, maybe letting the pelvis kind of rock side to side a little bit, opening up the low back. And we'll do our variation on broken wing or open wing pose. You're welcome to just stay right here too if you want to keep this a little more restful. If you're up for it, let's bring the arms out wide to a T. Let's start by turning onto the right side. So the left hand will plant by the side of your chest, your right hand out toward the right side. Start to press your way onto your right side. Reach your left foot as if your toes could reach all the way back to the right hand. So go ahead and do that a couple times, coming back down, then twisting to the side. Spend a little bit of time, maybe straightening and bending that top leg, or just holding steady. When you're ready, go ahead and come to the other side, turning back to your stomach, left hand reaching out to the left side, pressing your right hand into the floor or mat. Turn onto that left side, reaching your right foot back. Don't look in the mirror, just imagine your toes are right there next to your fingers. Go ahead and come in and out of that a couple of times or change the angle of that left arm that's sticking out. Whenever you've had enough, meeting back up in crocodile. Hands stacked beneath your head. Take 2 breaths here, intentionally pressing your belly into the floor with your inhales. If you want to keep it restful, feel free to continue your crocodile pose here. I'm going to try to fire up the core just a little bit here. So before we do any kind of moving, just start to pay attention to your low back and your pelvis. Just like we do in cat and cow, imagine you're kind of moving into a cow position. So you're kind of like, it's going to be a very subtle amount. Maybe you don't even see it, but you're kind of lifting the tailbone. And then cat pose, kind of tucking under, engaging the core. So go ahead and we're going to keep that engagement where you're tucking and tucking the tailbone under. So let's straighten both arms out toward the top of your mat. With your inhale, let's lift the right arm and the left leg. You don't have to lift them too high here. Your head could stay on the floor, just kind of hovering. And then with an exhale, lower everything down. Of course, we're switching sides now. Inhale, left arm and right leg lift. And exhale, lower. Go ahead and keep doing that for a few more rounds, inhaling and lifting opposite limbs. Exhaling to lower. Keep going. Listen to the sound of your own breath. Next time you're lifting your right hand and your left leg, go ahead and press more into your opposite limbs that are pressing down. See if you can lift up a little higher. And then exhale, lower. Doing that on the other side when you're ready. Inhale, rise like normal. Staying here for a little while, maybe pressing more into the right hand and the left leg. And then lowering down, stacking your head on your hands once more, crocodile. Let's plant the hands on either side of the chest. Start to press your way up to tabletop. And exhale, child's pose, keeping your knees a little closer together this time, if that feels okay. Breathing in to tabletop, rising up. And exhale, child's pose. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. Exhale, lower your chest. Inhale, baby cobra. We're lifting the head. We're sweeping the shoulder blades back and down like we're tucking them into the back pockets. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale here. Exhale here. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. Exhale, lower your chest all the way down. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. And then we'll find our way to our first downward facing dog. So keep breathing and grab your blocks if you have them. And with your hands on blocks or the floor, let's curl the toes under, start to lift and straighten the knees. Find your breath first and foremost, the foundation of our practice. Maybe pedaling your legs out, bending and straightening opposite knees a couple of times. If for any reason it feels uncomfortable to have your head so low, heading to a wall or a couch or a countertop, something like this where your head doesn't go lower than your heart could be nice. Still getting a lot of good stretch here through the back of the calves and the hamstrings. Even if you don't like need quote unquote to take that variation, it's fun. It's fun to try all the variations. With an inhale, bend your knees, look up toward your hands. Exhale, step or walk to the top for ragdoll. Let your upper body hang kind of loose. Maybe toe heeling your feet out a little bit wider if that helps you feel like there's spaciousness in your body. Another option is to grab hold of your bolster, hug it into your belly, and then kind of wedge it in between your thighs and your belly. Wow, that feels amazing. It's just like giving so much space in the mid back. Breath first, movement second if you wish. Slowly make your way up to standing in any way that you'd like, using a little more support by walking your hands up your legs. Take your time, slow motion, rising to stand. When we get to the top, let's take our customary shake out. So whatever comes to you, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just maybe getting a little bounce going through your arms or a little shake going through your arms or legs. Maybe doing a couple heel drops, lifting and then lowering your heels. So you feel all of your tissues kind of moving and shaking. Kind of like imagine them like muscles kind of like loosening up from the bone. I don't think that's a good visualization, but just kind of feels like that. We're giving space, we're kind of clearing the way out. And try not to tell your body to do anything specifically, just watch and listen as your body tells you how to move. Okay, coming up to the top of your mat, let's flip the palms to face the front of the space here. Lift your shoulders up by your ears, and then exhale as you lower them back and down. Feeling that opening at heart center here. Let's check in with the lower rib cage here. Knit your low rib together, kind of engaging through the abdominals. Possibly closing your eyes as you feel your connection to the ground. All the way up to the crown of your head. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Blinking your eyes open with an inhale, start to lift up to your tippy toes. And then exhale, lower right back down with as much control as you can manage today. Inhale, rising up to the tippy toes. Option to add on a lift of your arms at the same time. Exhale to lower. Do that a few more times. Inhaling to rise. Exhaling to lower. If you feel very safe, you might do this with your eyes closed or like half closed. Maybe you can still kind of peek through for safety. Things become very different with eyes closed when it comes to balancing, especially. So just give yourself some grace here. We're having fun, we're exploring. No one needs to be perfect. Coming back down, stepping both feet to the ground here. Let's take a breath in as we reach both hands high. Exhale, side bend to the right, grabbing hold of the left wrist and bending to the right. Inhale, come on up to center, switch the grip, holding onto the right wrist or arm, and exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, rise to center, switch your grip, Exhale, side bend right. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend left. Come back up to center and let your arms come down by your sides. We're gonna do a couple more side bends here, but with our arms down. I do invite you to close your eyes here, holding on to something for support if you'd like. Just go ahead and let your right ear come down toward your right shoulder first. Feeling a little opening through your left shoulder. Go ahead and start to reach your right hand down a little lower as your left shoulder gets higher, side bending in a new way to the left. Coming back up to center, nice and slow. Shoulders eventually level out and head comes up to center. And lower your left ear toward your left shoulder, nice and slow. Wait for that opening sensation through the right side of your neck. And start to reach your right hand down your left hand down as your right shoulder just naturally lifts, side bending to the left. Go ahead and do this a couple more times at your own pace. Is your breath still flowing? Next time you finish up on the left side, come on back up to center. And start to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring your hands to blocks and step just the right knee back. Now would be another good time to bring cushion underneath your right knee if you would like some. I'm going to bring a blanket here. We're going to shift the hips forward and then sweep the arms up and overhead. Pay attention to your low back here. If it feels like it's kind of cricked backwards, tuck your tailbone under until you feel a stretching sensation here on the right thigh or the right hip. Maybe not sinking down quite as far. Exhale, cactus your arms, open up through the chest, gazing up. And then sweeping your arms around and down. We're gonna do that a couple of times. Inhale, arms lift high. Exhale, cactus the arms, little back bend, down and around. Go ahead and find your flow with inhaling, lift. Exhale, cactus. Sweeping all the way down and around. Maybe one more time. And bringing both hands to your block or the floor. Toe heel your left foot out to the left side. Bringing your left hand and block to the inside of your left foot. Curl your right toes under. Pick up your right knee and step back to downward dog. Breathing in and out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale, lift the right toes high behind you, three-legged down dog. Exhale, step just the right foot forward and set your left knee down on the mats. Go ahead and kind of scoot that right foot up if it didn't quite make it to your sweet spot. Shifting the hips forward and down a little bit. Inhale, lift your hands high. Notice your low back. And tuck your tailbone under a little bit. Squeezing that left glute a little bit here. Feeling that opening, that stretching, that intensity through the left hip. And start your flow here with your next exhale. Cactus the arms, puff up the chest, and then sweep your arms around. Inhaling as they rise. Exhaling, cactus, down and around. When you've had enough, let's bring the hands back down to blocks. Toe heel your right foot to the outside of your right block. Curl your left toes under and step back, downward dog. Big breath in, big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, lift your left toes high this time. Exhale here. One last inhale. Exhale, step your left foot forward first and then your right to the top, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, bending your knees a little deeper. Inhale, rise up chair pose. So we're sitting back, bending the knees, hands lift. Exhale, hands lower to heart center, straightening your legs. Take a few breaths here. Finding or creating a state of balance if you can, or kind of honoring whatever the balance is today. Maybe it's not perfectly, effort and ease or any of those polarities, but taking a few moments here just to honor what is. Remembering your intention if you have one today. Take a clearing breath in through the nose, side to release. Inhale, sweep your arms around and up, coming to the tippy toes at the top if that feels stable. Exhale, fold, lowering the heels. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step just the left foot back, lowering your left knee down to the mat. Breathe like normal. We're going to shift the hips forward like we did before. This time the left hand stays up on a block. Right hand comes to the right knee or thigh. Starting to twist your chest toward the left, toward the right. Like you're looking up by that right shoulder. Option to stay right here in this nice twist. Maybe lifting your right arm high, circling out your right wrist, or finding other movements that suit you today. If your intention is one of more intensity, you could curl your left toes under and pick up your left knee. One more breath in and breath out. Lower that knee if it was lifted. We're going to rise up to the highest setting on this left hand block. Scooting or shifting your hips forward and down. You can hold onto that right knee for support still. We're keeping our little twist toward the right. And we can bend that right, or whatever knees and back. It's all scrambled up, isn't it? Left knee back there, bending your left knee, pulling that left heel in toward your left glute, possibly reaching back to grab hold if you can reach it. Otherwise, keeping that muscle engagement. And then releasing. Whew, that's a tough one. Curl your left toes under, pick up your left knee, step back, downward dog. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And out. Inhale, lift your left toes behind you, three-legged down dog. Exhale, step just your left foot forward, lowering your right knee down to the mat right away. Shifting your hips forward, finding a stack of blocks for your right hand, left hand pressing into the left thigh or knee, and then twisting your chest toward the left this time. All of our variations are still options, so go ahead and explore. Possibly curling your right toes under and picking up your right knee. Nice twist. And then go ahead and bring your hand back down to your blocks. Let's keep the hips forward and down just a bit. What am I missing here? On the other side, we did our twist. Oh yes, if you want to grab hold of your foot behind you, sinking back down, possibly grabbing hold of your foot, or just continuing to pull that right heel in toward your right glute. Lots of effort. This is our last effortful pose. One more breath in and release. Come on down to a seat. We'll need our bolster again here. If you have one handy, bring it with you. We're going to start in this deer pose. So we're bending both knees. If this is not a comfortable position, we can sit up on the bolster. So bringing your left thigh, your left hip up on something so there's less rotation needed in your hips. We'll get a timer going for us so we know how long we'll stay in this side. So if you are sitting up on your bolster, we'll need something else. You'll work it out, I'm sure. We're going to twist toward the left and set the bolster down on the left side. So pressing or twisting toward the left here. See where your chest can center. If it's not quite all the way to that left side, maybe you angle in your bolster a little bit and start to lower your way down onto your bolster. Your head could turn toward the right. For some people, it might feel good to turn your head toward the left. I like to kind of wrap my hands around the bolster and just kind of pretend it's a pillow. If it feels like too much intense pressure under your left hip or glute, it's another good spot for cushioning. I'm finding I want cushioning under my seat. And we're just resting here. So spending some time working with your breath, seeing if you can get a little more softness and relaxation going in the breath and see if that reflects then through your body. If anything doesn't feel quite right, you have full permission to edit and alter your variation anytime. Five more breaths, very slow. Finishing up your last breath or so. Plant your left forearm down on the mat and start to press your way up just enough to slide your bolster out from your chest, propped up on your left forearm here. Let's reach the right arm up and overhead. See if you can get a nice side bend through the right side. Maybe taking some circles through your right shoulder or semicircles. Letting your head, left ear, find its way toward the left shoulder as you move. And then coming on up, let's switch sides. Bending the knees to be off to the other side, whichever side you didn't do. Sitting up nice and tall. It might feel very different from side to side. So if you need more height up underneath your right glute, your right thigh, take time to be mindful with that. And then bringing your bolster off to the right side, that right hip, lowering yourself down as you find the right angle, settling on in. Maybe your hand might feel, or your arm could feel more supported, kind of letting your arm hang out behind your back, like behind your low back. Or maybe your left hand just wants to press into the floor. Find something that is supportive. Five more slow breaths. Take your sweet time as you plant your right forearm onto the mat and press your way up just enough to slide that bolster out from underneath you. Pressing into that bottom arm, lift the left hand high and find your side bend, letting your right ear come down toward your right shoulder. Maybe leaning back slightly if that feels interesting. And making your way up to a seat. One last seated thing here. Let's do our balancing pose, cosmic egg. So bending your knees and standing your feet up. We're going to grab hold of your knees or shins, leaning back slightly, puffing the chest up. So we're kind of more in like a cat or a cow back than a cat back. Possibly lifting one foot and then the other, finding cosmic egg. If you want to challenge yourself in a different way, maybe you purposely destabilize yourself and then try to come to stillness a couple times. Maybe you let go of the hands. You could straighten your legs and eventually making your way down to your back. You choose how quick or how slow it goes. Eventually reaching the floor. Let's take a long body stretch. Arms reach wide. Breath in. Exhale, cactus the arms, pulling them down to the side. Inhale, arms reach up. Long body stretch. Exhale, cactus your arms. All right. Any props beneath you, moving those to the side. Grabbing your knees, bringing them in toward your chest. Go ahead and roll out the low back again. Circling your knees, free movement. And if there are any last poses, movements, stretches, or beyond that your body wants or needs, now is your time. Move, stretch, flow. And then find a comfortable final resting pose for you today. As always, we could be in Shavasana, corpse pose with your arms and legs outstretched. I like to add in a little bolster underneath the knees, maybe a pillow or some kind of weight, just like right over the midsection, or maybe something under your head. Meeting up there whenever the time is right. Checking in with the posture of your mouth currently. How does that proper oral posture feel to you? Is that similar to how your mouth is already? Lips sealed, teeth parted, jaw relaxed, and tongue resting up on the roof of your mouth. Feeling the widening sensation through the nasal passageways. Opening your mind to noticing any other rhythms, maybe the rhythm of your breath, your heartbeat. Are there any other rhythms or cycles that you're able to detect? Is there anything that feels old in your life? Anything that's feeling ready to move on? Any kind of old, lingering junk, so to speak? Spending the next few exhales energetically releasing and seeing if that does anything for you. And noticing if there's a fresh sensation or some freshness you can bring in to this cleared space with every inhale, drawing in the energy perfectly attuned for you where you're at. Fresh prana, life force energy circulating, healing, helping, revitalizing. The deeper and more intentional each breath gets, the more and more of this goodness, the sunshine can be let in. And then letting go of any need to breathe or be in any specific way, just letting things be how they are. Letting go of any resistance to this moment and everything it has in store. Practicing keeping your heart open even through all of the challenges in this world. How open can you safely and sustainably keep your heart open? Stay here as long as you'd like, as long as you need. When you're ready, deepening your breath as you wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe letting your head rock side to side. Continuing to move in your own ways. Eventually choosing either side, pressing your way into the fetal position with your knees slightly tucked in, maybe your bottom arm or a real pillow can be your pillow. And then pressing your way up to a seat using the help of your arms. Grabbing any props for your comfortable seat. I'm going to sit up on a bolster. Let's join hands at heart center. Closing the eyes if that suits you, or just kind of turning your gaze down toward the floor. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and be free. And may our thoughts, words, and actions somehow contribute to that happiness and freedom for all. Together, bringing thumbs up to third eye center. Take a little bow forward together today in honor of this yogic tradition from India, making its way all the way here to us today. Let's seal it in. Peace.